Have to press record, or are we already recording? Oh, I see the message. We're being live streamed. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Planning Commission meeting of today, Monday, March 24th, 2025, at 6:30 p.m., being held online via Zoom. Christina, would you please take the roll?
Okay. Chair Mitchell,
Here.
Vice Chair Najak, Moreno,
Here. Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button. Present for Najak.
Moreno's here. Okay, Rigby,
Here.
and Tuing hopefully will be joining us later. Commissioner Sly
And
is absent today.
sorry, Cristina, Moreno's here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Item number 3, City Council update. Christina, do we have an update from the City Councilor?
We do not.
Right. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda for public comment. Is there anyone here that wants to provide public comment or raise an issue regarding items that are not presently on the agenda?
We do not.
Great, thank you. Item number 5 on the agenda, the Commission for Citizen Involvement, general updates. I have 2 neighborhood association flyers here. The first one is for the McVeigh South Shore Neighborhood Association, the annual meeting. The annual meeting is being held Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And the location is Park Academy on South Shore Boulevard. Some of the topics to be covered will be traffic updates from the city engineer, discussions on the South Shore Fire Station, emergency preparedness and update, and then the neighborhood board elections. The second update I have here is for the Palisades Neighborhood Association, this spring general meeting. It will be held Thursday, April 10th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and the location will be Park Academy. This will feature a special speaker from the Lake Oswego Fire Department, Assistant Chief Kristen Artman. And that is it for the updates for Commission for Citizen Involvement, which brings us next to the next item on the agenda. Sorry if you hear dogs barking in the background, everyone. Item 6.1 on the agenda is the findings, conclusion, and order. This is for the Community Development Code 2024-2025 annual amendments. It is LU 24-0029. The draft findings, conclusions, and order were distributed earlier to the commissioners, and I'll open it to the commission on whether there are any revisions, comments, or questions.
None for me.
Great. Hearing none, then I guess we'll need a motion to approve them.
I'll move to approve the findings as written.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the findings as written. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Christina, if you take a vote.
Okay, Mitchell,
Yes.
Moreno,
Yes.
Najak,
Yes.
Rigby.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Thank you. And the motion passes and the finding, conclusions, and orders are approved to be sent to City Council as drafted. Thank you, everyone, for your hard work on that one, and also to Staff Coordinator Evan Frenstead, who's not here, and for his work. Moving on to next item on the agenda, 7.1. We have a work session. The work session of the Planning Commission and Commission for Citizen Involvement 2025 Work Plan. This is work session number 2, and the Commission is being asked to provide direction on a proposed work plan to support the relevant 2025 City Council goals and initiatives. I'll turn it over to Long Range Planning Manager, Mr. Olson.
Thank you, Chair Mitchell. Yeah, I think really just wanted to come back to the commission and circle back on the goals that we had discussed at the previous work plan review session. So really not much has changed since that discussion. We went over those proposed goals, and basically at that time the commission indicated that they were comfortable with what had been proposed. So really, this is just kind of a finalized version of that being presented, for just, I guess, a more formal round of approval. Really, if there's any other discussion though that you want to have on these, of course, that would be completely appropriate. But this is something that was developed, kind of to reflect the most recent conversation at the commission about this. So just as a quick review of what's on the work plan for this year, really a big chunk of the work in terms of our current workload is the Foothills District Plan update. Staff has recently issued that request for proposals for this work. We actually provided an update to that City Council on this work last week it was March 13th, I believe. Or I'm sorry, no, March 18th. We provided them with an update rather. So anyway, we have been moving forward with that. We are expecting proposals to come in on April 10th and hoping to finalize a contract with the consultant by June 1st for that work. So yeah, that is kind of where we're at there, really moving pretty quickly through that process. And we will be back at the commission a few different times to discuss that. Most sort of quickly, it'll be discussed as part of the larger HPS implementation that we'll be discussing on the 28th of May at the commission. So be one sort of component of that larger work related to the rezoning strategy that was in the HPS. So next on the work plan here, it's related to the tree regulation amendments. Of course, some of that is, potentially within the commission's formal purview, as it will at least partially involve amendments to the community development code. There are other elements that are likely to be outside of what the commission would typically review related to the tree code, but there is a plan for that work plan to involve the commission in some way for that particular project. So they will be at the commission, or Jessica and that project will be at the commission in some capacity. We're still working through the details, but that is a high priority for the planning department this year and something that the commission did express interest in. The third sort of project that we've identified here is another one that we're just getting underway with right now, really in pretty early stages though, but the Code Audit and Amendments project. That is another project that will be led by Senior Planner Evan Franstead, and we are working right now to kind of put together a scope and potentially apply for a grant from Metro to get some funding to work on that project. So anyway, initial stages, but that is another project that is required as a housing production strategy for the HPS. Also with the rezoning, that's kind of similar in that we're still in the early phases there, scoping that work out. We're not envisioning a grant application for that particular strategy or that particular project, but that still will be a large chunk of work, and that will be led by Michael McNamee, who has been here talking about a few different projects at the commission already. The other project that we want to make some progress on this year is to adopt or consider the adoption of a low-income rental housing tax exemption. That's another strategy in the HPS that we have identified. Following up on another HPS related work plan item for this year, following up on that is the fair housing policy and education sort of work plan item that we have here. So we actually talked about that at a work session earlier this year on January 27th, where we received a presentation from Samuel Goldberg at the Fair Housing Council of Oregon with an overview of that policy. We are going to be talking about that again on May 28th, again as a part of that larger HPS implementation update. I think just to remind you, we will be getting a more formal decision from the State Department of Land Conservation and Development on the city's proposed housing production strategy by then. So that is something that we'll have at least some official word from the state on whether or not any of those strategies need to be reconsidered or if they have any comments that might modify them. So I think we're waiting a little bit to get into the finer details before we have a little bit more information on that front. But yeah, there will be a lot of information to share with you at the work session in late May. Commissioner Najak, did you have a question or comment? I'm sorry, I saw you had unmuted there. I'm not sure if that was deliberate.
Yeah, just since you mentioned the tax exemption, is this different from what was passed, I believe 2 summers ago now?
Yes, actually, yeah, we believe, yeah, it might have been just last summer.
Last
But yeah,
summer, maybe.
the nonprofit low-income housing exemption, this one would be more specific to just low-income rental housing, so it would necessarily be required to be a nonprofit for this particular strategy, but it is very similar in many ways.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, it's a very similar strategy in some ways. All right, and of course, yeah, so we just talked about fair housing policy and education. Hope to do that on a relatively near-term basis. Before the end of the year should be possible to update the comprehensive plan with some fair housing policy language. Of course, all years we embark on this annual CDC amendment process. That might be a little bit complicated this time by the fact that we're doing an audit of the entire community development code. So there might be some efficiencies, I guess, there that we can create by potentially, I don't know, there could be some room to include some of the items that we might with a typical annual code amendment update in that work or vice versa. So yeah, there will be some overlap, I guess is what I'm saying. But regardless, we do intend to still push forward some annual code amendments this year. And another project that we've already begun related to home occupation standards is one that we'd like to complete before the end of the year. This is something that Michael has been to the commission to talk about earlier this year on January 27th again, and we do have another work session scheduled. Actually, the next Planning Commission work session will be on April 14th, and we will be discussing this particular project. There has been a good amount of progress since the last time we spoke about this, including a survey that has been conducted with owners of home occupation business licenses or businesses that are licensed as home occupations, I suppose. And it got a fairly good response rate, I think, considering the sort of larger universe of home occupation businesses within the city. We got, I want to say something like 150 responses or more. So pretty decent response rate out of the total number of businesses that we had to reach out to in the first place. So yeah, we'll be hearing more about that and talk a little bit more in detail about some potential draft language that we could use to push forward some of the concepts we've been talking about and some of the direction that we've gotten from the commission, city council. We'll also be going to city council on April 1st, so we'll have some information from them. And we will also have the results of the survey, of course, to be considering, and that will be really important information for us to take into consideration. So with that being said, we have those 8 kind of big items for this year. Of course, things could still pop up along the way, but really a lot of work for us to be getting going with, particularly, a lot of really big sort of large scope projects with the rezoning, the Foothills District Plan update, and the comprehensive audit of the community development code. So these are really projects that could go on for some time, but we're hoping to keep them manageable and trying to advance some recommendations within a set time frame here. So a lot of work will be required of the commission, and look forward to figuring this all out with you. So yeah, I guess with that being said, let me know if there are any further comments on the proposed work plan. I know, again, it's essentially what we discussed last time, just trying to put a little bit more context information of what we've been doing currently on this work.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Appreciate that. I did a question, and forgive me because I can't remember. Are we under a deadline for the implementation of the HPS, of the housing production strategies? I forget. I know that we were waiting for comments, and I'm just trying to remember what the time frame is.
Yeah, so within the HPS, we identified timelines for each of the strategies. Some of them were fairly broad, but we did at least come down to, complete by the end of 2026, by the end of 2027. So we do have information per each of the individual strategies within, that document, as well as it should be reflected in the work plan as well. So, some of these are, most of it is designed to be completed before the end of 2026 to sort of coincide with the midterm of the HPS cycle when we have to sort of report and provide some more information about what we're doing as a city and show that we've made progress. So that is kind of leading some of this. But yeah, I think that's also something that can be revisited if needed. And, it is kind of a progress report. So I think there's likely some understanding on behalf of the state that, maybe this isn't all achievable within a certain time frame, but I would really like to try to hit those milestones that we've agreed to with them. Yeah, and there's, I think particularly that need to show that we're making some progress. The idea that we would be able to adopt some strategies earlier and sort of be able to show that we're at least doing something to work towards implementation would be helpful at that point.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Eric, do you need us to say looks good, move forward? Is there a decision for us, or you don't need anything from us at this point?
Yeah, I think I don't think you need to make a formal motion or anything like that. So I don't think that's been required in the past. So yeah, I have the proposed work plan. I'm not hearing any issues with that. So I think I'm getting a relative looks good from the commission. So I don't know if I need anything more formal, Evan.
You get 2 thumbs up.
All right.
No, you don't need to amend the work plan, just throw stuff in or take stuff out. It just
That's right. I guess I would have to get more of a vote if we want to change it.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. I think that concludes that item on the agenda, which would take us next to item number 8, other business. Do we have other business?
Nothing at the moment that I can think of.
Great.
When do we discuss filling the vacancy that we have on?
Oh, I guess I do have other business that I guess I did. I shared that with the commission via email, but I should discuss that during this business item. So, thank you for the reminder. The vacancy left by Commissioner Scanoni, we are attempting to fill that with an individual that was appointed as an alternate last year, James Bruce. We are bringing forward a resolution to City Council for the April 1st meeting of City Council, where he would be appointed to the commission. And if all goes according to plan, his first day as a commissioner would be April 14th. So we're aiming to have him onboarded and ready to go by that point to sort of step in and get active on the commission. So yeah, that should be, we're lucky to have a good alternate that's ready to go. That's, kind of been paying attention and following the issues that the Planning Commission has been considering. So I think we're in a good position, all things considered. But yeah, we are, unfortunately down one planning commissioner. So it is, never great to see somebody leave. So, wish Commissioner Scanoni the best in his new residence in Westland. He's fairly close. But.
Great. Okay, item number 9, schedule review.
All right, schedule review.
Eric.
Oh, I'll just. Do you want to go first? Sure.
Yes, please. Before you do that, I just wanted to advise the commission that I will be retiring, and I'm retiring effective the end of this month. So it's been a joy to work with each of you and with all the other prior Planning Commission members. It's been good times and bad times. This commission has been good times. We've had some raucous times before. But that's the nature of the job in any community. So it's been quite an honor. Ellen Ostenach, our city attorney, will be filling in then for me. She has not yet advertised for the position. So until then, she'll be filling in. It's certainly doable. I filled in as city attorney pro tem twice, and ran city council meetings and planning commission meetings and the DRC and that sort of thing. It's not something that's preferable, but it's certainly doable. So if you have any questions, reach out to Ellen in the interim, and then I assume she'll be in touch then as to what her staffing plans are, once she finds another person. So it's been a joy, but I also look forward to having my Monday nights free.
Thank
It's
you
been
for
26
everything, Mr.
years.
Boone. Thank you for keeping us out of trouble.
Oh,
Absolutely. You
you
will
bet.
be missed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more than your Monday nights that'll be open at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Boone. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us and for the city as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to kind of react to that internally and how we're going to divvy up all the various different roles and responsibilities he has within our department. So we're just still trying to wrap our heads around that, even though yeah, he was kind enough to give us some room to prepare and some time to kind of think about this in advance. But yeah, it's a big transition internally, especially after as much time as he's been able to spend with the city, and as big of a role, there's close of a knit role as he plays with all land use issues here at the city as well. But yeah, I guess I'll just get the schedule updates really quickly just to wrap things up for today. You know, there's one major update that I just wanted to make sure folks are aware of. You know, as we've discussed previously, we are going to hold our home occupation work session on April 14th. We'll be talking about the results of the survey and getting a little bit more information there. The next meeting in April, on April 28th, we have a new item. We are going to receive an update on the 2025 state legislative session from Director Jessica Numalu, who has been following these issues fairly closely. They've been providing Deputy City Manager now, Madison Thiesing, has been providing some monthly updates to City Council on this issue, but we're going to try to give one to the Planning Commission that's a little bit more land use focused. So we will be talking about that. There's a lot of activity going on with the state legislative session, and a lot of what we've been doing at the commission has been really responding to that. So it's really good to kind of know what's coming and know kind of what to expect in the coming year or so. All the things that we might have to kind of add to the work plan potentially that could be included in that session. So yeah, you know, I think particularly considering that we had some discussion of that with the annual code amendments, we were talking about potential changes that could come through on this legislative session. We wanted to talk to you about that in a little bit more detail. Yeah, so that brings us through April. Still nothing on the agenda for May 12th, but on May 28th, as I was repeatedly mentioning, we do have that larger update on the housing production strategy implementation, and that should cover a number of different items on our work plan. I will try to keep it brief and not kind of go on for too incredibly long about either one of those projects, but there's a lot to cover. So a bit of a heads up there. There's also a hearing that we have scheduled for the home occupation project on May 28th as well with the code update. So if all goes according to plan, that would be the date of that public hearing at the Planning Commission. So that brings us through the end of May, at least. And yeah, I'll try to do something that takes advantage of potentially nice weather on May 12th, and hopefully we can get out. And even though Commissioner Scanoni is not here, I think that the idea of a field trip is one that we should continue to try to pursue. So that could be a great opportunity.
Yes, in his honor.
Yes, in Commissioner Scanoni's honor.
Great. Hi, James.
Hi.
James, good news is we're at the end. So
Okay.
okay, unless anyone else has any questions or comments, thanks everyone. Appreciate your time. And again, congratulations, Mr. Boone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
adjourned.
And
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.